All right, so we're going to continue with the free code camp building a cafe menu, step 30 through step 60, I guess. And yeah, so let's jump into it. So article elements commonly contain multiple elements that have related information. In this case, it will contain a coffee flavor and a price for the flavor. And thus, two P elements inside your article element. The first one's text should be French vanilla, and the second text should be $3. So P French vanilla and P3. Okay, there we go. And the reason that is centered is because in our styles, we centered all P elements. So we use P to center all P elements. If we wanted to just center one P element, we would give the one we want to center a class of, let's say, French vanilla, and we do dot French vanilla and then center that. Next, so we're going to create more article elements for each of these ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one is going to be caramel macchiato. 3.75. Pumpkin spice. 3.5. Hazelnut 4.0. And mocha 4.5. See if that works. That looks good. And let's just discuss over here. So we see this thing here. If we wanted to add padding to make the section, to make the distance between the top and this camper cafe and the bottom and this 4.5 to make that distance bigger, we would go in and we would change our div, this menu. We would change menu to have padding at maybe 10 pixels. And see, it adds the padding right there. If you just wanted to add padding top, we would add 10 pixels on top, and it would just do it on the top. So that's padding. And it's not discussing that yet. It probably will discuss that, but I just wanted to mention that. Next, the flavors and prices are currently stacked on top of each other and centered with their respective P elements. It would be nice if the flavor was on the left and the price was on the right. So the way we can do that is, I think we can use flex. But I guess they're not having us do flex here. So add the class name flavor to the French vanilla. Oh, yeah, we can just do it that way. So, okay, no, class equals flavor. So add to the class flavor to French vanilla. Using your new flavor class as a selector, set the text align properties value to left. So flavor text align left. Okay. Next, you want to align the price to the right. Add a class named price to your P element that has a 3.0 as its text. Okay. Next, align the text to the right for the elements with the price. So price, text, align right. To get them on the same line, you need to apply some styling to the P elements so that they behave more like inline elements. To do that, start by adding a class attribute to the of item to the article. Yeah, so this is what we're going to get into, and I think I can just do this without looking this up. But so we add item, and then what we could do is add a flex. let's see what it says. Inline block. Let's try different things here. Display flex. Yeah, so display flex will work. And then we could add some distance in between those. So how to add distance between elements with CSS. So let's see, spacing in CSS. How to add spacing to flex elements in CSS. Justify content, space between. Let's try that. So Stack Overflow is your best friend, as is Google for this. So if we did justify content, space between, justify content, space between. Yeah, it adds some space between, but they're kind of separated far away from each other. So what we could do is we could add padding. Padding right is 20 pixels. Padding left is 20 pixels. So yeah, you can start bringing it in there. 40 pixels, 40. So you can start, yeah, you could do that. You can do it this way. This might not be how they want us to do it though. So let's delete all that stuff and do it the way they want us to do it. That's just showing there's another way to do it. So using the above selector, add a display element of inline blocks. They want to do, instead of flex, we want to do inline block. So that still doesn't look great, but that's what they want us to do. They want the item to be a P. So in the item, they want us to be a P. Yeah, whatever. Okay. That's closer, but the price didn't stay over to the right. This is because inline block elements only take up the width of their content. To spread them out, add a width property to the flavor and price class selectors that have 50% each. You're going to add a width property to the flavor, width 50%, width 50%. Still not looking that great, but we're going to see what else we can do here. One way to fix this is to make each P element's width a little less than 50%. Change the width to 49%. Yeah, that looks good. So I think my idea of using flex is actually a better idea here, but that's just me. That worked, but there's still a little space on the right of the price. You could try keeping various percentages for the widths. Instead, use the backspace key on your keyboard to move the P element with the class price next to the P element with the class flavor so that they're on the same line in the editor. Make sure there's no space. There we go. Now go ahead and change both the flavor and price class widths to 50% again. Now that you know it works, you can change the remaining article and P element to match the first set. Start by adding the class item to the article element to the other article elements. Class equals item, and add that to all of them. Okay. That's good. Now position the other P elements to be on the same line with no space between. To complete the styling, add the applicable class names, flavor, and price to the remaining P elements. Class equals flavor. class. And this isn't like, there isn't one way to do this. The longer you practice this, you'll realize there's many ways to do this. Like I said, you can use flex, you can use inline block. I'm not an expert on inline block in this way of doing it. I know I made another video about that, but that was with Tailwind and it was using another way of doing it. And it's not my expertise, but like I said, you can find, there's always different ways to do the same thing. So make sure you're playing around with things and trying to figure out the way that works best for you, that you can get your mind around, so you know how to repeat it for other things. And like I said, I'm learning myself as I go, doing this every single day. So there's tons to learn. Equals price. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now they might be asking us to add padding. Let's see. Now they want to change the width. Change the width of flavor to be 75%. And the price to be 25%. Yeah, I didn't do much, but that's what it wants us to do. You'll come back to styling styling the menu in a few steps, but now go ahead and add a second section element below the first for displaying the desserts offered by the cafe. So we're going to add another section. Add an H2 element called desserts. Add an empty article element under the desserts head and give it a class attribute with the value item. There's two P elements inside your article element. The first one's text. Text should be donut. And next should be the price of the donut. Okay. And then we have a little advertisement here. Okay, once dessert, the P element should element with the dessert. You should have a P element with the class of dessert. So we need to give it class equals dessert, and the class equals price. Okay. Something does not look right. You added the correct class attribute to the P element with donut as its text, but you have not defined a selector for it. The CSS rule for the flavor class already sets the properties you want. Add the dessert class as an additional selector for the CSS rule. So we would add a dessert. There we go. Below the dessert, you just add the rest of the desserts and prices using 3 more article elements, each with a nested P element. So we're going to do the same thing we just did, but for 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Change this to cherry pie and 275. 3.00 and cheesecake. Cinnamon roll and 2.50. Nice. 53. You can give your menu padding some space between the content and the sides. We've done this before by doing padding. So we're at padding left and padding right to the menu, and that will be padding left is 20 pixels. Padding right is 20 pixels. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Okay, we'll continue this in the next video. So I know I said I was going to do 60. We'll do 53, and we'll go to the end of the next one.